Hello, everybody. This is Bob Jackson from Walt Disney World's Port Orleans Riverside Resort, giving a big shout out to all his friends listening to the WDW Today podcast. I perform Wednesday through Saturday, and the show starts at 8:30 there at Port Orleans Riverside. Come on out. We'll be saving you a seat.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Monday, September 21st, 2009, and this is episode 619 of
620.
Oh, it is. It's episode 620 of WDW Today. I'm Matt Hochberg of StudiosCentral.com. Joining me on today's show is Len Testa, co-author of the Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World. And Len, I still think of you the same way as I did 4 years ago.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Little concerned, but only a little bit by that.
Also joins me on today's show is Mike Scopa, a senior feature writer and blogger for alleears.net. How are you, big boy?
You know, more than 28 million tons of bananas are eaten annually, making them the most popular fruit in the world.
Living with the land.
Living with the land.
And also joining us on today's show is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Hiya, Mikey.
I know it's been 4 years, but I feel like I'm 10 years older.
And also joining us, it's funny because you missed the first 60 episodes, that is.
Oh, jeez. Are we still harping on that? Yeah, really. I mean, come on.
Not that we're bitter.
No. But at least I invite my friends to their wedding, so.
Touche.
This is why you don't have to. You shouldn't feel guilty about things you've done in the past, Newell, because Hochberg will just remember it for you. You don't have to regret anything. Hochberg will just remember it for you.
See, what he forgets is that I missed those shows because I had work obligations, and since he's not paying me anything,
you remember a job, right, man?
Yeah,
sounds familiar.
Work, you remember that, right?
And also join us.
Should we ask Marissa? Because I'm sure she remembers.
And also on today's show is the fabulous Annette Owens of MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. Welcome, Annette.
Well, thanks. Well, if we're upset about 60 for Mike, no telling how many you're upset about for me.
It was 30.
Well, on today's show, actually tomorrow, Tuesday, is our 4-year anniversary. We started the podcast on September 22nd, 2005. And we thought we would, share some stories about the last 4 years or so. And, certainly a lot has happened in that time. And, time for us to, kind of reflect on what's happened. And we just want, again, there's so many stories that have come around from the 4 years that we've been doing this podcast. And, just wanted to share some of them with you. And some of you may actually have been part of these stories. So
we apologize.
We'll try not to mention you.
And we hope that our lawyers will be able to work out a fair and amicable settlement for all parties involved.
Again.
Once again.
Now, what's that warning they had on Dragnet?
The names have been changed to protect the innocent. That's us.
Well, 4 years have passed, and we're still going. Some people still like the show, I guess, and
some don't.
My mom.
Some don't. But we certainly have had a lot of fun with a lot of the things. And certainly, I know that when I think back of over the 4 years, I'm always drawn first to actually not even to the things we recorded on the show, but to the events that we were at together, at many different places, at Walt Disney World, at various be it Magic Meets or other things. But one thing I think really stands out in my mind, it was the 4 parks in one day. That we did. What was that? We did that
last year.
Last year.
May.
Last year.
That's right.
2008.
Yeah, and that was that the same trip, Len, that we scared off 3 different tables from Brown Derby?
Yes.
Where people wouldn't sit next to us.
Yeah, but that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Now we have. I mean that the Brown Derby story. I think we told on the air before, but basically we were at the Brown Derby. Len invited many of us. How many of them were there, Len? About
8, 10.
8,
I mean, it's the usual, party for 2 that ends up being party of 10.
Right, and we're sitting there, and we're all talking, enjoying our a good time, and
we might have been a little loud.
Yeah, but I don't think we were that bad. I mean, it's not like we were like hooting and hollering and throwing stuff or anything. We were just, Anyway,
Being our usual selves.
We kind of noticed that to the table to the left of us, or it depends on where you were sitting, but next to us, basically, there was a table for like, standard table for maybe, two.
Yeah, it's like this nice couple comes in, sits down,
and then they got up and left.
And then the waiter comes over and like, yeah, because we look over, it's like, hey, that's not the same group of people that was just there 2 minutes ago. We're just kind of looking at it.
I'm pretty sure we went to about 3 different groups, sat down at that table before someone actually stayed there. The exact time, and
there was nowhere else for them to go.
Yeah,
in the
we kind of looked at each other. I remember saying, someone was, I don't know who said it, but someone was like, "Is that table next to us been like people been leaving?"
Turned over like 3 times. That was funny.
But yeah, that was one story. And then Scopey, your favorite waiter of all time at
Dizzy Izzy at where was that?
At the
Artist Point.
This point, yeah, and he was. You were the one that he stared down, right?
Oh, I don't think anybody's going to stare me down. But I think he stared down. I thought it was Len or Bob. Wasn't it Bob? Because Bob said something about the wines.
Yeah. Yes, I thought it was Bob.
I thought it was Bob too.
And I was going to say, don't do that to Bob. He was like very taken back when we did not take his suggestions for hors d'oeuvres or wine or anything. It's like, what do you mean you're not taking my advice?
He was as far as waiters go, he was pretty assertive. Normally waiters, at least as far as I can remember, waiters will generally recommend a relatively inexpensive appetizer, a mid-priced appetizer, and maybe a more expensive appetizer. And for wine, they'll do the same thing, right? Inexpensive, moderate, and then expensive if you ask. Everything this guy recommended was expensive. Yeah. And he just wouldn't stop talking.
Yeah.
He just talked and talked and talked and talked. And there was one time where we thought he had stopped talking. Somebody started talking, but he was actually just drawing in a breath.
Yep. And
he said something like wait till I'm done and then you can ask your questions. I'm like, as far as I'm concerned, you're done right now. But whatever. You can keep talking. You're done. You just don't know it.
Yeah, that was.
What did we tip him, Len?
I don't. I think it was automatic gratuity because it was a party of.
Oh,
whatever.
that's right.
We were pretty big, yeah.
And not only that, he disappeared.
Right, he did disappear.
Yeah, there was a while there between the end of the entrees and dessert where it's like, you know what, it's time to go, and it's past my bedtime.
Been there since.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't go back. It wasn't that the food was okay. The service was one of those things where it's like I don't need to do that again. Yeah, it's kind of a shame.
I'm not sure of the 2 Sip and Snack episodes. I think that the first one is my favorite one because it was the first. We did have a lot more people on the second one, but I think the first one was kind of my favorite because it was the first time we did anything like that.
And the first time we ever did anything that's stupid is what we're saying, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you could actually plan a little better after you'd done it the first time. You kind of knew where to go.
Yeah, I remember as I came after you guys had finished, I met you in Epcot, and you guys were miserable. I mean, not like.
Well, we had to eat later at Bob's.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Were you there before we went to Ellen or after? I don't remember, Matt.
So Matt wasn't there. That's why.
Yeah, Len left. Yeah. Len took off. Remember?
Len went running, and then okay.
Len had to do an interview with someone.
Yeah.
That's why we had such a short amount of time. That's right. That's why we had such a short amount of time to shove food in our mouth.
Next thing I know, 2 hours later, I'm shoving pizza in my mouth and Chinese food, and it's like, oh my god.
Well, that night, so that was the night that Newell and I roomed together at
Old Key West.
Say no more.
And we were miserable. We were both sitting around the living room. God, you know what? I just want to stay in tonight, honey.
Yeah, it must be nice.
Matt was like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" Like, man, we're just sitting here. He's like, "You hungry? Let's go get something to eat." So we went to Olivia's and ordered one of everything for appetizer.
You guys were just miserable. I mean, Newell didn't eat. He just sat there and, Len, talks a little bit, but I mean, you guys were just, it was like, I can't think of something that I've done that would make me that miserable. Maybe like if you had the flu and it was like the second day of having the flu and you're just like,
miserable.
you're just.
I kept thinking, the thought kept going through my mind, what is all this going to do to my stomach the next day? And do I need to stay close to the room? I was so afraid that I was going to get so sick from all that.
Yeah, this from the person that went straight to the airport after that. So come on.
Well, that's right. You had the back of the plane to yourself.
I had to fly. I had a seat to myself.
Speaking of airplane. Speaking of airplanes, Newell, do you remember our flight down to Mousefest 07 on Flatulence Airline?
Oh, what was it?
Flatulent Airlines?
But it was Mike and I. I live in Connecticut.
Oh,
So Mike and I were going down for the cruise for Mouse to start Mousefest, and so Mike and I decided, we'll fly together. Because we could share the same car and everything. So anyway, so we meet and we get on the airplane, and we're both nervous flyers to begin with, and and there was a baby next to us. Like I think it was across the aisle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the baby was not exactly fresh as daisies, so to speak.
No.
Oh, man.
And it seemed like every 30 minutes or so, there was just this smell that would sweep through the airplane.
So we're flying down, and I go, and I turn to him, I go, "Is that you?"
That's awesome.
It turned out I think it was the man behind us or something.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, no, it was just like
Even better. That's just nasty.
Oh
It was awful though, and the plane recycles the air. It wouldn't go away. I'm like, Matt, see if that window opens.
On the plane.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But the cruise too was a lot of fun. That was the first time we did shows from the cruise from Mousefest 07.
That's right. Yeah, that was quite a the whole Mousefest that year was I think that was the peak, so to speak, in terms of Mousefest. I mean, we had done that. That was the first time we did that together on the cruise over there.
And Mousefest 05 was like the first time we were all together in the same room.
Yeah, that's when we took over the unofficial guide table.
That's right.
Yeah.
Glenn just had rent for the book, and all of a sudden he's got these we never met Bob before, and we just show up there, and all of a sudden these people have taken over the desk, the tables over there, and although at least we have to wear those god awful ugly green shirts.
Hey, don't make fun of those things. Those were great. Yeah, we've actually gone to beige now.
Yes, they're much nicer, I have to say. But the old unofficial guide shirts used to be this as Christina once said, a puke green with red lettering on it. I think you still have yours, don't you, Len?
I still have mine, but Fred, our statistician, has got newer ones that are much more. They're much more fitted and physique friendly. Anyway. I think for me I think one of the best memories we have is the time Scopa and I were running the Tower of the Tower of Terror race?
About a year and a half
Tower
ago.
of Terror,
Huh?
yeah. First Tower of Terror race. We're running through the stadium for Lights Motor Action.
Oh,
Talking to ourselves, talking to each other, and a guy runs up behind us and says, "Hey, are you Mike and Len from the podcast?" He recognized us by our voice. But the funniest thing was, it was the next morning. We're standing in line over by the end of Fantasyland, getting ready to go into Liberty Square when at the end of Magic Kingdom Extra Magic Hours, and we're talking to ourselves. We're talking to each other again, and this woman walks up and says, "Hey, I recognize your voice. You're Mike Scopa." And I said, "Oh man!" And she goes, "And you're Len Testa." I think I might have actually sworn or something like that. But
that's great.
Len, the Tower of Terror thing, the thing that was funny about that was, remember he made us stop and he made his wife take a photo?
yeah, that's right. I got nothing else to do. Sure, go ahead. Whatever you want.
Is that the race that you guys went across the finish line holding hands and skipping?
Yeah. Skipping,
yeah.
So I actually went back and got Mike after the race. It was kind of funny. Yeah.
Mike wasn't going to tell us that. He was
I was
just
so
going to get we crossed
sick.
the line together.
I
You
can
have the
remember.
picture.
Len, at the beginning of the race, I remember the Masayo's friend Nazumi was there, and she was going to run the 6.5K,
Yeah.
and we were going to, and so, but she didn't know any English, so I'm getting really nervous because they started the 6.5K with the 13K, and I'm trying to explain to her. I'm holding up 4 fingers and pointing to her, and then I'm pointing to us, and I'm saying 8, and I'm shaking my head like, "You don't want to run with us. You run at 4." And she's sort of agreeing with me, and I'm thinking, "Oh, this poor woman. She's probably only good enough for 4.5 miles, but if she takes the wrong turn, she's going to go 8 miles and 9 miles with us." I was so nervous. But,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
So funny.
Wow.
What about you, Annette? What's a memory the one that really stands out for you? A story that you remember?
Well, I have many in my short little time here, I have to say. But I have to say the one thing I never would have done, and my family will say this as well, is I'm not sure what potion you guys have, but I would have never thought I would ever sleep on the ground ever. Ever. Walking and seeing armadillos at night and sleeping on this air mattress that had no air in it in the freezing cold.
And of course, you're referring to the tent event.
I'm referring to the tent event. I'll never forget, afterwards, Mark going, I really wish you would have had your phone on you so I could have told you the webcam had a not appealing view.
Yeah.
For everybody
really?
when we were putting it up, I had my, anyway. Figure that one out. But I was putting the tent up, you forget it's there. So you start putting up a tent, Thank heavens we didn't have volume on that. Yeah, go ahead, Newell. Feel free. I did some stupid stuff. I made some stupid comments out there because I am not an out there.
I was more offended.
Yeah, that was the best story was from that Scopa just mentioned. We were in the tents. We finally went to sleep. It was late at night because we had gone to extra magic hours that night at the Magic Kingdom. And, we finally all get to our tents and go to sleep. And, I wake up. What was it, Mike? A couple hours into it, maybe
It was like an hour. Yeah.
And I wake up and I had roomed with Mike before on the Mousefest cruise, and I was aware that from time to time, people snore. And I woke up and I heard snoring, and I assumed, well, it must be Newell. And I kind of like when you wake up and you kind of look over, and Mike was sitting up, and he goes, "It ain't me."
It was the bear in the tent with us that we were all cuddled to because it's freezing cold.
Was it that cold, really?
It was cold.
That next morning was miserable putting all the stuff together because it was freezing that morning.
I don't think any of us spoke a word to each other. We just packed up and said goodbye. It was just miserable.
I was never.
I went to the rest the little
the
whatever house that was with my sleeping bag on me. I mean,
at least you were able to go. I didn't have my room key, so I couldn't use the bathroom the whole night. I had to wait. Till the sign says it opened up at 6, so I was waiting there. It's almost 6. 6 comes and goes, and it was the night before was. They changed the clocks back. Daylight savings time. So now I had to wait till 7 o'clock.
Gee, we missed that one.
Yeah.
If you're going to plan that, I have to say, let's not gain an hour.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do it in the fall when we lose an hour.
Well, to bring it back to Len here for a second, Newell, I'm sure you remember the look on Len's face at Mousefest 2007 when we had the dinner at Ohana and Scopa gave the speech.
Scopa's $800 speech.
Oh man!
So for our listeners,
you told me, Len. You told me. Mike was right there.
I have to agree with Mike on this. I heard it too. I have to agree with Mike.
See, it's on us, yeah.
I thought I heard.
I don't recall ever saying those words.
Why should you tell the story, Len?
So, for our listeners who've joined since 2007, in December of 2007, we decided to invite 22 of our listeners to have dinner with us at Ohana, which is a restaurant at the Polynesian. It's a sort of a meat-centric. So there's a lot of beef, a lot of pork, sausage, turkey, stuff like that. Very good restaurant. We like it a lot. So we got this huge table, and all of us are there. And the invitation that we extended to our listeners was we would pay for half of the meal. So if dinner was $25, we'd pitch in $12.50, and they'd pitch in $12.50. It was kind of our way of saying thank you to anyone who could show up at Mousefest. So we get there, and since Mike is Scopa is our elder statesman, I would we asked him to say a few words. So I asked him, I walked up to him, I said, hey, could you just say a few words before we speak? He gets up, he starts talking, and the words come out of his mouth that, hey, we're happy to buy you guys dinner. And I'm like, no, we're not going to buy you dinner. We're going to buy
but no, I don't. When he says it, I look at Len.
Matt looks at me like, hey, man, that's really cool. That's nice.
Look like, what
the? So somebody not give the man his chair.
But in fairness to Mike, it did sound like
you got a free meal out of it.
That's right. Everything's better when Len pays. Exactly. And we learned it that night.
Oh, so speaking of Len pays, so I'm doing a book signing in Greensboro on Saturday, September 26th, 2 p.m. at Barnes & Noble. So I'm buying coffee for anyone that shows up, by the way.
I'm there.
Danny will be there.
Yeah, Danny. Danny actually might come, actually. So
I've got here's some WDW Today trivia for all of you. I'm curious if you guys remember this. Do you guys remember where we were the first time we met in person? All four of us.
Mousefest 05.
But
Oh,
where?
06.
Where? No, it was 05.
Dole Whip. Dole Whip meet.
No.
I thought it was the Mega Mouse meet.
No, not that I remember it. I
Okay.
remember the first time we met was going to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Was
Oh,
it the millionaire?
when you were going to
Bob-
win,
oh,
you
Bob
were
was
going to win
there,
the
yeah.
whole thing?
Yes.
Yeah, Will was there with us. Amy was there with us. I
Oh
think.
yeah.
That was-
Watch,
yeah.
watch me. I'm going to show you how.
Oh
this
yeah,
is
Matt
won.
was going to show us how to get on the hot seat. That's right.
I was too busy.
And look at what he's
showing-
done. He's in the hot seat now. Look at that.
Hey, still on the hot seat.
It's a circle of life.
Oh, that's funny. That's
Yes, there you go.
That's awesome.
Wow.
There's your trivia for the day.
Is that all the? Oh, just one trivia? I thought there was more.
That was the one thing I remember.
so you do that, and I fall, and that's how I get to know you guys. That's just special.
On the stairs?
No, at Magic
That's-
Meets.
Yeah.
Magic
Yeah,
Meets.
yeah. You slipped on the stair.
Yeah.
No, I tripped over the cord on the floor doing a presentation.
Oh well, whatever.
Oh,
Things
whatever.
change. Over the years, stories have been
fell.
embellished. You fell down the stairs.
I fell down the stairs, broke my neck. No.
Nine
No,
flights
that's-
of stairs.
Like,
That
remember,
was-
Newell, remember when live shows used to be? I mean, there's always a little technical difficulties, but the live shows used to be the first hour was nothing but technical difficulties.
The first few, the first 5 or 6
Yes.
were disasters. But yeah, the fact that people love them and called in, that was the only reason why we kept them going, because
That's why
I was ready-
in the theme song that Jared had wrote, it says I forget the exact lyric, but it's something alluding to you, going crazy or pulling out your hair or a nervous breakdown. Newell works hard on sound and something about nervous breakdown, but from the live shows.
Yeah, we had so many technical problems. I mean, because the whole thing was new. There wasn't many shows, and I mean podcasts, not real radio shows, that were actually doing that.
Right.
We were one of the first anyway. I'm proud of that. And once we got the hang of it, it actually worked really well. But the first couple were just, and you can't hear it because they're edited out now. But if you were listening live, we'd lose the signal, we would drop the call, we would lose each other. It just was not good.
I recall in Mousefest, we had eaten at Trail's End. I think that was Newell's and I first time over there. And we take the boat to Magic Kingdom, and we were over there, and this joke is still funny to me. We're all sitting in the back of the boat, and Mike disappeared, Scopa. We go to Newell, I goes, "Where's Scopa?" And you were out on the bow of the boat talking to somebody or something. So we said that you were doing the recreation of Washington's crossing the Delaware.
I remember the first Mouse Fest. I remember going around with the wireless headset.
Yeah, it was nice.
And I can remember turning around to Mike, and I kept on, he'd throw up the thumb, and I remember we went crazy that day doing interviews all over the place.
And that worked out so well. It was funny because I got up that morning and I went to the store and bought that morning, an hour before we actually set up, just for that reason. And
Really?
I was that wasn't
Cool.
planned. On the way to the Magic King, on the way to the Swan or Dolphin, or wherever it was, I stopped at like a music store, and I brought the wireless mic, and I said, we might be able to use this, and it became a staple for Mike. I mean, he uses it in everything we've done.
I remember something about that Mouse Fest. I had to pick up Matt and Marissa and drive them someplace because Matt was too young to rent a car.
That's right.
I just
Hey, Matt?
I was trying to be environmentally conscientious and only have one car to bring us everywhere.
Yeah, you want it to be green.
Yeah,
Huh?
That's right. I was
Yeah.
green before it was cool to be green.
That was a good Mouse Fest. That first show was good.
Yeah, it was.
I was going to just say the first time you were you started to realize that people are going to recognize us. Remember, we were at the Dismeets in Allentown, and you and I were talking, and this woman comes up to us, and she recognized our voice, and she said, "You're the other guys from the podcast."
Yes, that's
And she
right.
looked at me, and I
Other
said,
guys.
"Get ready. That's what it's going to be like when people start listening, and they're going to come up and they're going to say hi, and you're going to be, you got to
Yeah,
be
it's-
ready to say hi."
Yeah, that's happened. That is. I'm trying to. I mean, this happened so many times where people have recognized. And you guys told some stories before. Len mentioned one of them. I know that this past was it Star Wars
Weekend. Star Wars Weekend.
Newell and I were in the parking lot of Pop Century. We were bringing something back. And I don't know. Thank God we weren't filming or anything, but we were just walking.
No, Janine, we were helping Janine get to her car. She was going back to her room.
And somebody goes, "Oh my God, you're so and so!" And
the pouring rain. It was pouring rain.
Yeah, that's happened. I mean, I was checking into Port Orleans one time, and I you finish the check-in, I turn around to leave, and someone goes, "Oh my God, are you Matt Hochberg?" And it's my picture right over there, and it was.
Isn't it? That happened to me this past Mouse Fest at like 1:00 in the morning at the Beach Club. I'm down at the front desk asking for something. And I was getting a little, there was one person, so you get a little impatient. I'm sitting there and I was like, thank God I didn't say anything because the guy behind me turned around.
Totally gone on a tirade. Do you know who I am? I'm Lou Mangello.
My favorite story though about being recognized, Newell, is, and I said this on a fairly recent show, but I'll say it again for anyone who it's still funny to me. It's so funny. You were at Bellevue Lounge with your wife.
Yep. Oh yeah,
and trying to explain that you hadn't you don't spend all your time. When you're down here for work, you actually are working, and you work hard, and there's not time for play or never. And you're at the bar over there with your wife, and the bartender not only recognizes you, but lets you know in advance that they don't have the drink that you usually get.
I'm not even at the bar. I'm sitting at a table along the back wall. He comes over. The bar is empty. He comes all the way over and says, "I'm sorry, but we're out of Bailey's." And the look that I got from Mary. So, but then he goes, "But don't worry. I put in a call to another bar, another resort. They're bringing it over. It should be here in 20 minutes." He tells me.
We heard you were coming. They're
going to name a drink after you. They really are.
But that was the same night that Laura Spencer came by and recognized my voice while we were sitting there. So that was kind of funny.
That's before she became a huge Disney bigwig.
And now she's this big star. And she doesn't have
anymore.
She doesn't have time for us. But
no.
That's funny.
And as always, was it the 2005 Mouse Fest, Matt, that you proposed to Marissa? I remember being there.
That was there. Yeah, the 06. I planned this thing with Annette for months. And,
oh my gosh!
And I finally proposed, and she was obviously still of age. So it was after I proposed and Marissa accepted. I turned around to look, and Annette was taking pictures, and Becky Menken was taking pictures, and there was another agent or two there, and there's Scopa, and because you weren't part of the deal at all, you weren't a part of the plan, and all of a sudden
he's everywhere.
Yeah,
he's like Waldo. He's everywhere.
That's right.
Oh my gosh!
I wish
that Mouse Fest will have a special memory because that was where are they? Where are they? Well, they're not where they're supposed to be.
And you're walking up Hollywood Boulevard with all the roses.
With all the roses, waving like a princess with all the roses.
I'm just happy that since we didn't get to go to the wedding, that at least some people went to the.
I was at the engagement.
The invitations they got lost in the mail.
Yeah,
I was just looking at the wiki over here and all the old jokes we made for Scopa because they're all over here, and we had some. There were some good zingers here on Scopa's expense. So remembering the first Thanksgiving all the way back when he planted the corn with the fish in the ground.
Called it maize back then.
That's awesome.
Hailing from parts unknown and the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world of 1894.
I actually did the first podcast. It was called W Today.
What was the Spooky Mahoof jail joke? I see this on here.
It was when, it was probably that when I was telling the story about in December 2001, trying to get on a plane by myself with nothing but a backpack and aerial photographs of the Disney theme parks, trying to go through airport security with that, and ending up in a private room with the Transportation Security Agency, the TSA guys.
Spooky move.
Spooky move. That's an old joke that just.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Oh man. What about this story? Again, going back to the wiki here, Scopa. It says Josh and Sarah's favorite person to be snubbed by.
Is it me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, they were sitting at a table and I was walking by and I was going to Crystal Palace. Mm-hmm. And Josh had a WW Today shirt on. I think that was the first time I ever met them. Hi, how's it going? I walked right by. And I can also remember one Mouse Fest crossing Main Street near what's that? Casey's. And this woman said, "Hi, Mike." And I said, hi. I said, I know you. She said, no, you don't know me, but I know you. And it's just like, oh my God, how many people are going to be saying that? You know, you run into people and you say hi, and it's so embarrassing when you can't remember their name, and they know your name. It's so embarrassing. It's really, really difficult to remember everyone's name, but we try.
Yeah, that's right, Mark. I mean, Mike.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing. We've met so many people over the years, and so many really nice people over the years. So that's one thing I'm always happy about is the fact that we've actually met some really, really, really good people.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of our listeners that I know that I keep in contact. I mean, they're really my friends at this point, and it's because of the show.
And some of the regulars like Janine and Josh and Sarah, they've become really good friends. Danny, guys like that have become really, really good friends. Just in our personal lives, and only because they were following the show.
Yeah. Oh, there's
Danny now.
Well, I remember, speaking of Danny, do you guys remember we did a live show from the All-Star Vacation Home, and Danny was there because he was a cast member at the time, and he was done with work. He came by, and he goes, Danny, you want to be on the show? And he goes, yeah, that'd be cool. So he's just really sitting there. He's not saying a whole lot because he wants to kind of, I don't know if he wants to soak it up. He was nervous, whatever it may be. And so we get a call, and it was Danny's mom.
Oh, I remember that.
That was great.
Len, do you remember the time you finally, during the whole year of a million dreams, you never won anything, and you were annoyed by it, and then you finally won something? Why don't you tell our listeners what you won? It was very exclusive.
It was the first thing I won was Fast Passes at Peter Pan.
No, that wasn't it. That was.
That wasn't very exciting.
That wasn't exciting. No, but there was something that you tweeted. You texted. This is before tweeting.
Oh wait, it was.
It was a free private screening of a certain.
Oh, that's
attraction.
right. That's right. So we're in the parks with Christina, my sister, her husband Dion, and Hannah, and I think was it Hannah? That was it on that trip, and Chrissy comes running up to us in Adventureland and said, "We want something in your million dreams, but you have to come right now." So we're like, "All right, it's cool. It's a family thing.
We're going to the castle. Woohoo!
Big, right? Exactly." Come running over, and we had won a free show, a free private showing after hours of Enchanted Tiki Room, which does not sound like much, but we could have been on Family Feud. We were jumping up and down so much. We thought that was the coolest thing ever. It was, and it's really cool because we got to stand up and move around the entire inside of the attraction, looking at where the best sound was. It was a lot of fun.
I think that's going to wrap it up here.
Here's to another 4 years.
Another 4 years. That's right.
Hey, we all be here together, huh?
That's right. Well, that's it for us today. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, all 4 years of them, you can visit at our website at wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scope, and Mike Newell, and the fabulous Annette Owens, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.